Welcome back. You're probably here for some more vampire action. And after the last episode where we went through the school late at night, figuring out a few mysteries, one of which actually being true. A vampire roaming the school late at night, one that was tricked into it. Who exactly transformed him into the beast that he was? Why exactly the private detective decided the need to exercise? Let them pass on, using the sunlight to disappear into the wind. How many others have also befallen the same kind of fate? And I think quite an obvious question, who else is about to? I don't think she's going to let up all too easily. If we have this investigator knowing about vampires, what if she runs across the Akito, the one that she was looking for, the one that, or Akiyama, whatever his name was, the one that was transformed only recently? Is it going to go down well? Is she open to dialogue? I somehow doubt it. Let's find out. Well, after everything that's happened in the past couple of days, some bit to think about. He's been put in the middle of this. And since he's got a bit more interaction with vampires, having the other side of it where they're just blood-starved beasts. The other side of the coin, but also, is it a good idea to go and see her now, considering the detective is on the prowl, probably monitoring his moves? Considering the main story so far has been kind of just relatively light-hearted and just going through the flow of things. Now it's this slightly darker turn. How's that going to be incorporated? Are we going to have to worry about any characters now? Or can we just continue just having a fun and dumb time? And is he ever going to go to school? I think she's been waiting a while. And he's now getting some flashbacks just due to some just because of the phrase she used. Probably best to disclose everything that happened. And the burning in the sun thing. I mean, not as long as he's got tasty blood there. Plus, he has been hungry for how long? Was it like 10 years or so? Hmm. I mean, so at this point, she's only feeding every couple of days because, well, it's tasty. What is her reasoning for going into vampire hunting as a business? Are you giving up now? You've come so far. What would happen down the road? Would you face the same kind of fate? Mm-hmm. I mean, we saw it, but was it? There we go. A little bit of worry for her. Might might not be. I mean, he hasn't been faced with the most terrifying of experiences when it comes to interactions with vampires. Just slightly odd. Of even though they have out here in the open, and yeah, even though they have threatened to kill him, you remember earlier on, but hopefully that fear doesn't manifest in a different way. Yup. Got a selection of flowers. Why exactly is he delivering flowers at this time of night? I wonder what the camera's trying to get you to focus on. He needs to needs to practice a bit actually being able to look people in the eye. It's a skill. You know, pick your moments wisely. That the lesson he's trying to teach there. I mean, he doesn't know his place in society at the minute. He's thinking that he can get away with it and have a new life as a vampire. In some regard, yes. Depends on how hungry he was. Well, they managed to meet again now, come back together, but what has he gone through to be able to get here now? The fact that they tried to catch up and be friends again. A question that he's going to be asking himself. Probably a good idea to go over it once or twice at least in his own mind if he doesn't have a firm grasp on his plans for the future and what he's actually doing. Is it just to stick around her a bit more? To find out what it means to fall in love? He's focusing on the that side of things rather than any of the romantic reasons to why he's trying to join. Sudden hug, his raging passion. Yes, I mean he did have quite the eyeful earlier, so perfect. having his convictions questioned, mainly because he hasn't done it himself at all. Just kind of rolling on the punches that was in front of him, therefore become a vampire. He is. Well, who keeps printed medium now? Ah, well, a quick rundown of his family life there. Don't try to. Yeah, I was about to say. Don't try to play the situation out like that, considering she's squeamish when it comes to talks of such. I guess the jokes are a clear cut above that, though. Oh no, He's gonna need to wash everything twice. I hope so. She's had her fill of snooping around. I mean, a sudden change in his outlook here and him worrying about what it means to be a vampire's future of being one. And he doesn't have a firm grasp on that. I mean, being a vampire would help in that regard because you get to almost fly around. You don't have to walk everywhere, but at the same point, missing out on quite a bit. Apart from the coven giving him a firm time limit, was she actually looking forward to the plan as it was before? Have another vampire buddy. Out of the ordinary. Well, at the minute, my ordinary is like halfway through the night and into the morning, so. Huh. But what right. I mean, she's speaking from experience. Decades. But then, after meeting him, things have changed. Yeah, practice makes perfect. She's got a lot of time to. Is it because she's trying to convince herself that there's also some fun to be had out there? Well, would you look at that situation you found yourself in? Is she hungry again? I would think. Yes, he believed so. And after that, yeah, she would need to make a hasty exit. Is that really the title of the episode? It's not just a case of him trying to find his place. Find his place in this world, but also would he? If it wasn't for vampires, would this choice of how he spends his nights change at all? He'd still be out and about in the early morning, spending time with her and his friends. And apart from being outside, I don't think that kind of life is too bad. Probably more than you would like to know. You're just going to list off his. There we go. Just list off his history, likes, dislikes, blood type, hobbies. Definitely not. Don't touch my phone. I mean, how does she? I mean, she's got some good deduction, but how does she know for sure? The fact he just confirmed all of it. Not the kind of vampire that we saw out in the school, one that lashed out trying to feed, but the fun type of vampire. I Well, that depends on your outlook of a vampire. If you see the vampires as like the teacher, one that was unfortunate and coaxed into that life against their will, is it the vampires that are evil? Or if you saw the other side, the ones that can control themselves, have conversations, have fun, play games? He's going to have to give it a practice go first. You know, might not like that irony taste. How exactly strong is his conviction there? He is completely asexual when it comes to things like that. The animation of her just walking forward a few steps. I feel like her words here being slightly pointed would get him leading in the other direction, where he'd actually force himself to try to fall into it a bit easier. Hmm. I mean, out of the two options, well, no. We saw a vampire potentially die, but not her kill him as such. It was the sun that really did it. Her actions during it, giving him a ring, probably led to certain feelings. You know, she didn't kill a vampire. She killed a human, didn't she? Let him die as a human. Well, she really has something against vampires. He's seen the other side of it. He's seen the humanity in them. compared to one that just wants to wipe them all out no matter who they are. The easiest route. Really? Now he's going to be put under lock and key. But now he's got to keep a lookout for anyone tailing him while he's out just walking about. This is a great way to get him on board. Also, is there actually a curfew type thing in Japan? I mean, as a kid, we could be wandering around at 3 in the morning and police could drive by and do nothing. It's like, well, yeah, fair enough. They're just out. They've got some pretty good eyes to see him up there. Or it's just some conspicuous timing. They'll never look for him here. The one place we've seen every character that's ever had a moment that needed to stay out late end up sitting in a little playground. Huh. Not Nazuna, but I didn't remember her name at all, but hmm. Does the private detective lady know Nazuna's face? What she looks like, her description? Is she going to think that that one who's talking to her now is them? Now, the idea of vampires being evil because they drink human blood and they turn them and leave them in predicaments like the teacher. Sure. However, well, we don't actually know before she really met him, but for the most part, everything we've seen has been with his permission. Oh, can I have some blood now? Nothing's been violent or maybe a little pressuring. But I guess the fun just frolics through the night, seeing what the sights are and the entertainment that can be had from it, as was discussed. Well, they're just the fun bits. There's the entertaining parts of being a vampire, leaving out everything else. I really quite enjoyed this episode, and hopefully you did as well, because, well, for the sights that we've seen for Call of the Night, the fact we've got the art direction for it all being so shiny a lot of the time, because since it's out of the ordinary, we're going to see the world as it was. But no. The fact is, ordinary life was what he was trying to run away from. The fact that, going to school, have friends, hang out during the day, no, that's boring. The sense of freedom that he can achieve, the life outside of the norm. And now that's being pulled into question itself. Even if it wasn't for vampires, this is what he would be doing. And was it me, or did the entire scene where we had the detective talking just feel like some noir? All the colours and lights were completely muted. I mean, we wouldn't have the usual bright lights and purples during a scene like that. It definitely did add to it when she was being creepy as hell. And one thing I noticed, if it had a few cutaways to maybe some calligraphy or something, this episode was very much in the same kind of realms as Monogatari. I'm getting that sense for it when we were having that little conversation back and forth. Some of the faces being pulled as well. Which reminds me, I want to go back and rewatch part of that. So honestly, I just kind of worried for the future. You know, him deciding what it actually means to him to be a vampire, his reasoning behind it, the thing is, he's caught between a rock and a hard place, or a detective in a vampire set. There's no good way out, unless he can get some like nat 20s on some dialogue checks. Because become a vampire, get hunted down by the detective and killed. Not ideal. Okay? Don't become a vampire. Get hunted and killed by the coven. Is there a middle ground? Well, that middle ground would probably be getting killed by both, so. Great. He's got to change a few outlooks on the situation. He himself doesn't quite know what's going on, so I'm not sure about his persuasive capabilities. But now that she has locked off part of the fun that he had in his life, the going out at night, I wonder if she actually just called a random number and not the police, and it's just him now looking over his shoulder and being paranoid. But still, calling into question his entire being of, well, the night's fine, he's out during that time. Does he need to be a vampire to do it? Does he, now that he's met Nazna, is it more fun when she's around? Her also being slightly up in front with him being, yeah, it's not fun sometimes. It can be a endless boredom. Being alive for so long, there's only so many games you can play. Although looking at my Steam library and how many hours I've spent doing certain stuff, I think I'll be set for a while. Now, when this series started, I did just kind of want the kind of formulaic, oh, now they go out, do some crazy thing, go home. And I kind of wish it stayed that way because that was fun. I didn't have to deal with questions of personal motivations or accountability. He's got his work cut out for him, though, if he's going to have to try and persuade the detective that vampires aren't all that bad. Sometimes there can be some good amongst them, even if they do drink human blood. Especially with his friend, considering one's been traumatized and one is now firmly in the camp of vampires are bad. What could have happened if he actually managed to reach her and eat properly? Of course, we know that vampires aren't all sunshine and roses. That's not saying, it's boring, the life isn't amazing. Her time with him has been a bit uplifting. The council were threatening to kill Cora immediately, but also the idea of having just a friend or a food source, not allowed, you need to turn them. I can understand why the detective would be a little more insistent on vampires being evil. I wonder if any of them had anything to do with that teacher. To be fair, since they're the only ones that have been introduced to us, it could be likely. Or it might be some underground rogue vampire sect. Which there probably is some. After all, how many people have gone missing and have been turned roaming around and left to their own devices? Probably won't be seeing that, but with one episode to go, slightly worried for the future. We won't be able to just have a nice, happy time. Although seeing her launch herself onto the bed, roll around, hunt under it, down the side. That was kind of adorable, really. Just with some heavy topics being discussed. Oh, and a used tissue. Definitely for blowing his nose. We need to clean up that damn room, though. Well, hopefully he can hide those folders on his phone a little better. And with that thought, I'll leave you with that. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode. If you want to see more, let me know. If you would want to become a vampire, roam the night with no rules, no police to stop you, since you can just jump away, let me know. How much would your life change if you could never see the sun again? Personally, I might need to get thicker curtains, but that's about it. If I entertained you, consider subscribing. If you want to see what's coming up later on, have some, well, not interesting conversations, but conversations, consider joining onto my Discord. All the links down below. But mostly, hope you enjoyed yourself, and I'll see you for the next one.